The Gospel reading for Sunday was Mark's account of the calming of the storm. We hear of chaos on the water. Let's remind ourselves of how that Gospel begins. It is evening, the day is done. The disciples and Jesus get in a boat, leaving the crowds and the busyness of the day behind them, to head to the other side. It is evening, and Jesus does what most people do in the evening, especially when they are tired. He falls asleep. And why not? It's a perfectly safe and secure place to be, isn't it? On a boat, with friends. And then a storm takes hold. Chaos strikes, yet Jesus sleeps. In their anxiety, in their fear, and almost certainly in their fury, the disciples wake him, asking, "Do you not care?" Jesus, being Jesus, doesn't panic, and he doesn't try to become a Coast Guard weatherman and all of the emergency service all at the same time, because for him there is a stillness in the storm, and he says, "Peace." Jesus acts with the authority of the one in whose hands rests the entire universe. Jesus asks, "Why are you afraid?" Well, why wouldn't you be? I sometimes wonder if the disciples were more afraid of Jesus being asleep than of him being awake. Remember, Jesus saves us not from our troubles, but in our troubles. Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, have you still no faith? Have we still no faith? Faith in ourselves, in our own abilities to deal with what life throws at us. Faith in God's love. God goes on being God, and if God is in our midst, and God is, then the unstoppable power of love is with us. The God we see in Jesus is a stiller of storms. Mark is telling us God wills harmony for the world and peace for all our hearts. But really, who can control the watery chaos with a word? Well, the disciples know their stuff. Know that the universe was brought into being with a word from the Creator God. And in a long strand of Old Testament tradition, the sea was especially associated with evil powers. The disciples knew the story of the parting of the Red Sea, which God parted to let their ancestors cross to the other side, to dry land and to safety. And it's because of this fear of the sea around them is spiritually understood, as well as physical fear. The disciples realise that Jesus has such authority that even the winds and the waves obey him. Who then is this? Jesus reveals to his disciples who he is in ways they can understand. Some of the disciples were fishermen who would have been well used to the changing winds and waves, the ever-present danger and the beauty and relative safety of a still sea with no wind or crashing waves. God speaks to each of us in ways that we can understand and through things we might not notice if we let him. And if we have the eyes and ears and hearts open to seeing God in our daily lives, whether it's in the beauty of nature, the sound of children playing happily, the company of friends or family, or the solitude of a good book, or the peace of a garden. God meets us where we are. With God, the still voice in the midst of the storm, we can be very certain that we are never alone, that ultimately all will be well, because there is nothing outside of God's authority. And so today I leave you with these 3 questions to ponder on. Do you not care? Why are you afraid? Who then is this?